Thank you.
Absolutely, and Lucky. And if you don't mind, kind of, a little background and kind of areas and what got you into crypto.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucky. I've been in crypto since about 2016-ish, and my background is in IT. So I work with development teams and work for a big retailer company that probably most of you shop at, but I have not doxed myself just yet. But crypto has been, part of my kind of financial strategy, and it's picked up over the past, I would say, couple years. And then luckily one day, just searching Twitter, I came across this great group of VGX heroes, and I've felt never like being at home, especially with, Aldo and Floki and Obi and Big T and the group that's kind of day in, day out, just, learning from each other and talking and just helping really financial literacy to what VGX is and how it can change someone's, idea of how to look at finances and what they can make, by utilizing these platforms. So it's been awesome. This group's awesome, and I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And kind of touching on that, there's no better feeling than being on a space and then like that moment where somebody realizes the potential of Voyager and what VGX, the loyalty program, can offer. So, but glad to have you up here, and we'll get rolling. So I'm going to start it off with kind of an overview of our itinerary for tonight. So we're going to start off kind of gauging or talking about the spaces going forward. After that, we're going to introduce some segments. So we're kicking off on the educational spaces. So we're looking to going forward to have a very structured ideas segments that throughout the week we'll have those posted for you guys. So we can get questions, feedback from the community. And with Michael coming back, we're also looking to do kind of monetary topics. So overview of how the financial system and where Bitcoin comes into play and all the other cryptos, kind of touched on some new ideas there. But yeah, we'll get it kicked over to Floki on some more of the spaces if you want to talk more on it.
Yeah. So to back that up, this is episode maybe 20 something that we've done. I'd say we've hit phase 2 of our spaces. So we're really trying to create some structure and, like Pepe said, some segments, some of which will be reoccurring, some of which will be one time that we can, engage with the audience with. And part of this is reaching out to you guys and asking you if you have any good segment ideas. We're going to expand a little bit more on the VGX Heroes community, but right now it's kind of a focus on these spaces and the idea of segments. So I'm going to go ahead and list a few of them off that we've already discussed this week. The education team has spent some time just kind of strategizing on what we want this space to be like. So we have some segment ideas. And the first one that we need some help with some names, but it's essentially going to be a book study where we're going to, drill down specific, lessons or topics of chapters of books. And each space, it will continue to build, space 1, chapters 1, 2, 3, space 2, 4, 5, 6. So we need a better, more engaging name than book study. So if you guys have some ideas, as well as if you guys have particular books, especially around, macroeconomics and crypto, everyone wishes that they could read and, dive into all these books, while most of us, I think myself included, would much rather have a drilled down version of that from really smart people that I know we have in our community. So book club or book study is the segment. And I have a few of them listed out here. The ones we're going to do today, after we talk about a few more of these segments, is, what are you embarrassed that you don't know? For example, I'm embarrassed that I don't know as much about the difference between layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, things like that. Or if we want to twist the segment and just call it, the things that Floki is embarrassed that he doesn't know, I'm more than happy to fall on that sword or grenade for you guys. You could always DM me and I'll ask that question. So that's a segment that we're thinking about. Another one is like, I wish I could explain this to a 5-year-old, wishing you could say, all right, what is a smart contract in the most simple, easy to understand way? So those core concepts of just really drilling down to a quick couple sentences is a segment idea. What other things can I scroll through here in our education spaces here? We have one called this meme makes me think. So if you see any particular memes that really that make you think about a particular learning or subject, save those and bring them up to us, because I think having a visual aid to go with the concept that you're learning may help stick. We could have, what's another one? This one time on YouTube, things that you heard on YouTube that you want to discuss or check up on. What's another one? This one that was a joke, but that I wrote out myself. Michael cursing at Crypto Cartel in a blend of English and Italian, just for kicks. Crypto politics with Scapegoat. But on to more serious ones. NFT discussions. We call that right-click save as. What were some other really other ones? Like convert a non-believer. Like if you guys know someone in your life that just, it doesn't matter what you say to them, because it's coming from you, they just don't listen. If we could get a little bit of a head start on that, and you're willing to bring them on and they're willing to come on spaces, that's an idea. I feel like I'm missing a couple other segment ideas. What's another one? Oh, Tony Hawk had a good one. It's like the fine print, all of the very nitpicky details, potentially about certain coins or tokens or whatever, getting into the nitty-gritty, hardware wallets and whatever. So those are some of the ideas or segments that we have. And if you guys have thoughts, one more, debate your own coin or your own worst enemy, like Obi-Wan, for example. Like you would not necessarily pitch Luna, but you would say the downsides of Luna, or Major, same with you and Ada. You would, because you love Ada, talk about why Ada is, potentially bad. So the opposite of what you're pushing for, to kind of gain different perspectives and debates and stuff like that. I'm going to stop talking now and let someone else speak on this idea of segments before we dive into a few of them.
Yeah, Aldo, I saw you unmute. Did you have something you want to just add?
Yeah, just an idea for a segment, just Crypto Basics 101, and like as a subject for that, how to assess crypto projects. I think that would be really good for the basic level user, teaching them how to properly assess and evaluate a project in the crypto space, and what are some criteria by which they can judge a project. I think that would be a good one.
Absolutely. And another one, we'll actually plan to touch on that one today, actually. But yeah, we can get rolling into these. If y'all want to start off with the first segment, embarrassed you don't know, subject of what you're embarrassed you don't know about.
Who wants to take my layers question? The difference between layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. Because I'm embarrassed that I don't know exactly the difference between the 3.
Obi-Wan or Lucky, would y'all want to jump in on that one?
Sure. I'll give it a crack, and then if Lucky wants to add some color to it, feel free. So in blockchain, or let's go back, in the traditional internet, you've got the protocol layer and then the application layer. So a lot of us don't know a whole lot about the internet protocol layers, even though we use them every day. But that's kind of the foundation that the internet is built on, right? So if we were to use an example, you'd have URLs, right? You'd have HTTPS, you'd have SMTP. Like, so, you know, the protocols for reading a website or finding an address on the web, on the internet, or sending an email, and how to do encrypted messages or banking, right? That's all the foundational protocols, which are basically the languages and how those complex systems can communicate with one another. So, and on top of that, you have the layer 2, and that's, you know, those are like the websites, the services that we interact with, the companies that we go shop at, the entertainment that we see, right? That's the layer 2 of the internet. And in the internet, the structure is no one really owns or monetizes the layer 1. It's highly centralized to really kind of, you know, it's kind of open source, but the gatekeepers, right, of those servers and infrastructure are, you know, kind of localized. And then there's a few companies that do a lot of the hosting services that enable that, right? Your Amazon Web Services, your Microsoft Azure, that kind of stuff. But the most valuable companies in the world grew up on the layer 2, right? So your Amazons, your Facebook, now Meta, your Googles, your Netflix, right? Your FANG stocks, right? Those are the ones that became some of the most valuable companies in the world, right? Through the internet era. And in crypto, it's a little bit different, where your layer 1 is your protocol layer is essentially each blockchain or graph, and you have the unique opportunity of owning the coins that are the basic unit of account and the transaction costs for utilizing that chain, and helping secure that chain yourself by running validation nodes, or you know, maybe just you have a copy of the ledger and you're helping you know, keep records of that. Or maybe you're delegating to a validator in a proof of stake network and putting your financial capital and energy helping secure the network and you know, transfer value around. So that's the layer 1 on the internet, or excuse me, on the blockchain. The layer 2 on the blockchain is going to be the protocols or the decentralized applications that go on top of the blockchain. So, for example, in Terra, you have Terra is the blockchain. It's built on the Tendermint language, and on top of that, you have protocols, which are the applications. So, like Anchor Protocol would be a lending and savings platform protocol that's built on top of Terra. So it has a token that's not it's not a native coin like Terra or Luna are, but it's a coin that's issued on top of the network that has governance rights for voting on that particular lending protocol, right? So that would be an example of a layer 2. Another example of a layer 2 using Terra would be the Mirror Protocol, where you can trade synthetic assets of stocks, and that tokens would be issued there to pass around value and trade those synthetic assets. So layer 3 would be something kind of above and beyond, like if you know, maybe Mirror Protocol was to develop some kind of I don't know even what they would do on top of that, but if they were to develop some other use case and they needed some kind of an app on top of Mirror, that would be a layer 3. There's not a whole lot of layer 3s going on. Sometimes there's also layers that they call layer 0 in blockchain, and like in the case of Terra, it's built on the Cosmos technology, which is you could consider kind of a layer 0. So if you think of a layer 0, it is a technology that interoperates with other blockchains and can pass along information. So if you think of the Cosmos network is kind of like the main spaceport, the hub where everybody kind of lands and passes along valuable information from one place to another. You might dock your ship or your blockchain on a hub on the Cosmos ecosystem, but maybe you'll congregate in the hub and pass information and value between blockchains, like how Terra can operate with the secret network, and how Terra can send assets over to Cosmos or to Osmosis, and those assets can be transferred between those blockchains. So that, if you ever hear layer 0, that's kind of what they mean. Polkadot would be an example of a layer 0. Nervos would be an interoperable layer 0. And then you have blockchains on top of that, and then apps on top of that for layer 2. So hopefully that kind of puts that into a little bit of a visual construction of layer 0, 1, 2, and eventually layer 3. Like, if you were to think of, like, I guess Bitcoin 2 would be like layer 1, and then a layer 2 function of Bitcoin would be like Strike, right, where you can send payments around. A layer 3 might be a app like Twitter using Strike to send payments between users and ultimately, those payments would transfer around on the Strike network, and then they'd ultimately settle on the Bitcoin network. So that'd be like a 1, 2, 3 example.
Yeah, that was great. Lucky, I saw you unmute for a second. Did you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think Obi covered it well enough. I've always thought of like layer 1 as being the infrastructure layer, and then Obi, we might have a difference of maybe around layer 3. I've heard it two different ways. So maybe to Floki's point, maybe I don't understand 2 versus 3 as good as I should. I've heard 3 is more the DApp layer, and sometimes 2 is usually just there to help improve layer 1. So it just depends on maybe where I learned it from, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, usually layer 1 doesn't have it's the core infrastructure layer of the blockchain. It's the basic unit of account and the distributed ledger layer, right? It's the technology, it's the consensus. But the apps that you interact with on the network and you utilize for most things other than just token transfer and ledger type things would be your layer 2. So that'd be like if you had a game and your app was a game and it was on the Terra blockchain, for example, then that would be a layer 2 dApp, right? That particular game would probably have an in-game currency, and that would probably have its own token that would help, like DeFi Kingdoms on the Harmony blockchain, right? It's a game, it's a DeFi game that you can play, and you're either exchanging the layer 1 token, which would be the Harmony 1 token, but you also have the opportunity to farm within that game the Jewel token, and that would be specifically used in the layer 2. It wouldn't be necessarily needed. The layer 1 doesn't need the layer 2 to exist. The layer 1 can exist independently, but the layer 2s bring development and users to a blockchain and make it ultimately useful. So that's kind of what your layer 2 is. And then services that use the layer 2 that link in maybe through an API, but maybe don't need their own tokens, but they're just going to utilize the service, that would be a layer 3.
Yep, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, great job of explaining that. That was a great explanation, better than I could have done. We have somebody that's been requesting for a little bit, so I'm going to get them up here, Alpha King. What's going on, Alpha King? How are you, my friend? You're muted. Can you hear us?
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, my friend.
All right, cool, man. So, hey, you guys, this is my first day, or my first time actually speaking in a group. So, I just feel honored to that you guys give time for this. So I'm new in the NFTs like 12 days. well, actually, I came in probably the opposite way most guys do. I came in through the NFT, gathered all this info, and now I'm really trying to learn how to be smart with coinage, because I see how like there's compounding elements like all over the place inside all the layers. So I gotta give shout out to my bro. He's in the room. Alpha Kings, what's up? But so what I'm wondering is, you guys are. It seems like you guys are Kings panel amongst the VGX, and so my big interest is the little bit that I know through VGX. Just by having the coin, it implements a compounding element alongside what we would call like whatever layer 1 Bitcoin, and then transitioning layer 2 Ethereum. I think maybe Cardano's a part of that too. I'm not sure, but my question, you guys, is what wallet does the VGX coin need to sit in to have it do that compounding element? What ecosystem does that wallet, or where is that wallet? Is there multiple, or is there just one? Is it just Voyager?
Well, let me take this. I sit with Big T all day, every day. So OB and Big T, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sits on the ERC20 blockchain. So the Voyager is on top of the ERC20 blockchain. And if you use the Voyager platform, essentially, if you hold it, you'll get the 7% yearly interest on that. Or if you want to go to the Voyager website with your MetaMask, you can connect your MetaMask on the Voyager website and stake it there. And then there are other platforms, I believe, like Binance, if I'm not mistaken, that if you buy it on Binance, and I think you have to lock it up. This one might be a little hazy. If you lock it up, you can get a 9% return on Binance. How'd I do, Big T and OB?
I invited Big T up just because I know he's an expert on breaking it down as effectively as possible.
Yeah, I just want to throw in there, like, Voyager is a utility token. It's a token that, like Lucky was saying, is the ERC20, which is an Ethereum token, right? And owning the VGX token on the Voyager platform unlocks utility in the forms of extra interest boosters or referral payments, or value like that, right? So you have to own a certain number of VGX tokens to get into the different tiers, which add the extra value. There's currently a 500 token tier, which is called Adventurer, a 5,000 tier, which is called Explorer, and a Navigator tier, which is 20,000 tokens. So depending on how many tokens you have in your Voyager account, that basically unlocks your extra bonuses. But if you're in the 49 states that aren't New York in the United States, all you have to do is buy the VGX token and hold it in your account. You don't have to transfer it to any external wallet. If for whatever reason you're in New York or you're outside the United States and you wanted to get the token and hold it, and like he was saying, stake it with either Voyager directly on their website or with Binance, then you would have to transfer the ERC20 token to those platforms to interact with their smart contracts to unlock those particular yields.
Okay, awesome, cool. So right on. That's all really valuable info. So just to confirm, if your VGX is in your Voyager wallet, that's where the boost operates. It does not operate on another like fork somewhere else in the eco. It's only in the Voyager.
If you're on the Voyager platform, do you have the Voyager platform or no?
Well, I'm like mobile. Like I said, I'm a newbie, dude. So you guys, I'm sorry if this is just like beginning level stuff, but I'm on mobile, so it's just the Voyager wallet is all I got.
So you have the Voyager app, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, the app, basically the wallet becomes the app, and then if I buy your guys' coins there, then I want to activate that boost because I'll use that wallet to ride my other coins alongside it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you have the Voyager app, which is also pertains as a wallet, and you buy your coins there, and you are in one of the tiers that Obi talked about, you then unlock the other boosts that you would get. So like if you were the Adventurer and you had USDC, you'd also get a 0.5% boost on your USDC. And then obviously if you have other things like as a debit card comes out or referral bonuses, you get boosts across the board based off of what tier you are in Adventure, Explorer, Navigator.
Awesome. So cool. So cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and to touch on it on a basic level of Voyager, since you are new to the app, I mean, there's 70 plus coins on there / tokens, and they pay interest on, I believe it's 35, I believe, somewhere around there. So it's a non-staking to earn the interest. You just hold the amount of coins that's required. So if you're on the home screen, scroll all the way to the far right, and it'll tell you the interest that's paid, and it'll also show you how many are required to get that interest. That's yearly, but it's paid out monthly. So, for example, USDC, it's, it stays $1. It's tied to the US dollar. You earn 9% just holding it with no VGX, but VGX, as you go up the tiers, you earn a interest boost. So, with a debit card coming out, it pays cash back on the debit card purchases, as well as you earn the 9% interest on the USDC you hold. So as just a pure reason to use the app, the interest, I mean, alone for USDC makes it worth it. But yeah, so that's a little bit about Voyager, the platform.
So Pepe, I've been working on a spreadsheet. I think I'm about done with it. I might need someone to check it though, maybe like Obi or something. But essentially, you're gonna be able to put the amount of money you deposit. If you want to add a monthly deposit, pick your tier level, and then enter the Voyager token price and kind of see what that would look like over a 5-year period. And then I'm doing the same thing for the debit card, where you can put your monthly spending amount, select your tier level, and then it'll show you what your monthly token rewards would be along with your yearly. And then if you even hold those, what that 7% could look like on top of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Another person you could check with is Stone Cold. I know he's made some Excel formulas for the what's it called? Reward bonus for your tiers. So I know he's pretty Excel proficient. Dang, I lost my train of thought. Oh, coming from the NFT side, that's amazing. I think that's going to be more and more common because I see NFTs as kind of a easy introduction to crypto, but so I'm a big NFT guy. I love to hear that you're into them, but I would absolutely, I mean, NFTs are high risk and they're, illiquid at times. So, you get good returns. I would always suggest moving some over, collect profit and things and that such, but glad to have you here. And I appreciate you coming up and asking questions. Let us know if you have any more.
Awesome, for sure. Again, you guys are providing so much value, so I appreciate that. I'll step down. You guys can let someone else up here, but I normally don't talk, man. I had to get through a freaking ball of cat fur in my throat just to talk to you guys, so I appreciate it.
You're a natural, dude. Thank you so much for coming up. And something to note is that eventually Voyager will be an NFT brokerage as well. So that's in the future. But that's, I imagine, going to be an additional utility of VGX somehow. Whatever new ecosystem, I imagine there's going to be some sort of utility tie there. And I don't know if it's worth mentioning. Probably, if you don't have the Voyager app, you aren't eligible for the other benefits of the VLP except for the interest. Well, I guess the interest is sort of default, that 7% or rewards, excuse me. And I believe that's through MetaMask. Can I get confirmation, or a few other wallets that are eligible to get the rewards not being on the Voyager app through VGX?
Yeah, it would be MetaMask. You can buy in Coinbase. You can buy in Binance. Binance, it is a lockup period. I can't remember. I don't think it's that long, but you do have to lock it up there. But MetaMask, you can transfer. For example, if somebody's in New York, they could buy VGX on Coinbase, transfer to a MetaMask, and then stake.
Mr. Churchill, what is up, big dog? How you doing? We see you. We see you today doing what you do best. Nice work, man.
What's up, guys? Long time listener, first time speaker. Hey, I've got, by the way, I appreciate this. I've got a question, 2-part question, really. And it's around the interest payments. If you've asked, if this has already been covered, and I apologize, just tuned in. But the first part is this, is the rewards boost with regards to BTC and ETH, is the original amount, the 6.25, whatever it is, paid out in BTC, and then the interest boost you get with VGX reward tiers in VGX, or is it all VGX? And then I'll ask the second part after I guess I get the answer.
You got it. Yeah, the booster is paid in VGX with the program that launched in January. So referral bonuses, interest boosters, those are all paid and same with the debit card, checking account rewards. Those are all going to be paid in the VGX token. But you get the base in kind, and then the boosters are all VGX.
I didn't realize you get the base in kind still. That doesn't seem as drastic as what I was originally anticipating. So the follow-up question to that then is, and I know they haven't answered this, but why are they doing this? Is it because the SEC was starting to ask questions around this and security related obligations, or otherwise?
Well, I have suspicions that, coming from if I was Voyager, I would be structuring the rewards in that way because of the benefits to the margin and the P&L. So they have the growth pool in the first 8 years of VGX tokens as part of the utility program. So what they're doing is they're shifting, instead of having to open market buy BTC and ETH and USDC for the boosters to pay those out in kind, they're using the VGX treasury that they already have through that growth pool to then use that to pay the rewards. And then once all of the growth pool treasury is depleted, then they have to go open market buy VGX, which then of course helps all the community holders. So they also put a limit on BTC and ETH, so you can get that full 4% plus on each. I forget the exact breakdown of what it is, but it's 4% base rate on both, for and change, and that is paid in kind up to 100 BTC and up to 500 ETH. But those are the limits that they introduced on those two items. So I think the other thing that they did in that move is they moved the checking account or debit card rewards that used to be 10, 20, and 30 basis points. They 10x'd them to 1%, 2%, and 3%. So they're, instead of paying extra boosters and open market buying ETH and BTC, they're now using their marketing budget and paying the boosters in VGX. And that's more sustainable for them in terms of their spending of their revenues on the interest program.
And Obi, tell me if my thesis is right, because as I was messing around with these calculations, the more you do now with the VGX token being lower and with the cash back, you're going to receive more tokens. And then if those appreciate in value based off where VGX token could go to, the return will be pretty substantial based off of getting more tokens now that the value is lower. Is that correct in my thesis?
So your cost basis, the lower you buy, the lower your cost basis, the more your realized yield will be higher. As the VGX token increases in value, you get your quantity value back in the 7% or in the 1%, 2%, and 3% booster. But as that token rises, right? If Voyager goes from $1.80 to 18, right? Well, then your 7% is a 70% reward, right? Because your token price has gone up 10 times. So
for example, the way I did the math was, if I spend $5,000 on my debit card, and let's say the token price is $2 over that year, and say you're an adventurer, you'd get 300 tokens yearly. But when that token price goes up to 50, you're only going to get 12 yearly. So doing this program earlier, right out the gate, and getting those 300, and then maybe 200, then 100, as the token price goes up, just holding those tokens with that value will be substantial gain in the future.
Yeah. The lower the price of VGX, the greater the quantity of rewards when they go to pay out. They give you some of the rewards are paid out every 2 weeks. So on the 16th and 1st, and then the staking rewards are paid on the 1st. So yes, the lower the price of VGX, the more quantity you accumulate. So the earlier you are to the Voyager loyalty program, the better the better your long-term gains will be. As that token begins to appreciate, you're going to get a much higher quantity now. So like, if say you had cash back for trading rewards of $20 in the first 2 weeks of January, then Voyager would buy you $20 worth of VGX, which, today would get you roughly 10 tokens, right? But, if the token price went up to $10, you'd be getting 2 tokens instead of 10.
Right. Yeah, no, it's cool when you start looking at it that way, because really, the message that we share is get in these programs, utilize them, and those that are going to be early adopters to this program, let alone, can get significant token rewards, which if the appreciation, path is what we think, it's another form of a great return overall.
Yeah, I want to, this is great conversation. I know we can go on, so I want to get to Noah real quick, then we can hop back over to this. What's going on, Noah? How are you, my friend?
Yo, guys, great to see everybody. Good to be back with the tribe. I've been out in spaces, in outer spaces, talking Bitcoin and market and Fed and everything. So this is good to be back with the home team. And I'm interviewing Steve next week for our Crypto Pulse newsletter. We got 500 doctors following, which is awesome. But I'm going to jump in on what we're talking about and ask some questions, some theoreticals. And it's a very good point that the what they're paying you in now is in like cheaper VGX ostensibly than it's going to be as adoption increases and the price discovery happens. And that's a really good point. Like the the cash back that you're getting now, it might be 3% cash back, but if Voyager 10X's, you're going to be getting, that's like a 30% realized cash back situation after a year, if the math were to work out perfectly like that. But the 7% interest that you're making on the coin is different. That's going to be paid no matter what in VGX denomination. So you're getting 7% no matter what. That means the interest you're getting now might be, let's say it's $200. But if Voyager goes 10x, what the interest that you're getting, in a dollar term would be a lot higher, obviously. So so the interest, and this is what I had to ask. We know that the marketing pool based on the white paper is 40 million the first year, 20 million the second year, and then 10 million like for the final 6 years before we kind of like start having kind of some community control over the token. And a lot remains to be seen with that. But so here's my question, because that's kind of like a deflationary force when you think about it. I mean, like, or rather, it's a disinflationary force. It's a decreasing inflationary force on the token. And Steve has said that he's, if he has to, he'll go out on the open market and buy VGX to pay rewards, to pay cash back, and debit rewards and whatnot. So at some point though, that could be an absolute behemoth, like an absolute monster. And so I think that, we have to remain open-minded to the fact that that can change, because, what we don't want, especially shareholders, like I'm a shareholder, I have a lot of the stock as well as the token. I think I've got more stock than I've got token in fiat terms. But in any event, at a certain point in time when it starts to affect their bottom line, they're going to be left with very little choice but to change things up. And at that point, there should be quite a bit of maturity in the growth and quite a bit of adoption. But we have to be, prepared for that. As an entrepreneur and being involved with private equity, I can just tell you that just like the changes that we've seen so far, and they've been benefiting us. Obviously, we're kind of like early adopters, but at some point, and I think it'll be good for the company and good for growth and good for the bottom line. But at some point, Steve and gang are going to have to answer to institutional shareholders, and that means we're in like this lucky window where we're early adopters, and all our gains are basically going to be amplified by the natural course of being like, it's like we're like angel investors or like VC. And it's interesting to have a community of non-accredited investors having access to a business model like this. But I just want everybody to be aware that at some point, the gravy train gets reeled in a little bit. That means ultimately, and I don't know if it's 3 years, 4 years, whatever, 2 years even. It depends on the success. Like, we could be a victim of our own success, but the interest rate on VGX might have to come down, or the token, or it becomes more inflationary. Because imagine if like every single holder, all million holders now, or whatever, or funded accounts. Imagine if several million funded accounts each had, Obi, you posted the other day. This was brilliant. If everybody just bought like 71 VGX, then we would be out of supply, right?
That's right.
I mean, that's nuts. But do you realize what a problem that would be? I mean, it'd be like a champagne problem for us. I mean, the the supply shock would be insane. I went right out that day. Did you see it? And I bought like $5,000 worth of VGX.
I did, yeah. But that's absolutely true. You're right that we will have to vote, and that the interest rate or the stake and reward rate will probably have to change, or maybe we vote to increase the growth pool. I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But in the video that I just did with DJ Crypto, where we kind of went over the proposal that I did and kind of what that meant in terms of the tokenomics, is one thing we also have to keep in mind is that the rewards that, if you're getting into the Adventure, Explorer, and Navigator tiers now, I mean, when this thing scales up to 3 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million customers, you're going to be in the top 4% of token holders. Just kind of think about that. The reward payouts might look good, but I mean, they'll be really good once they start adding lower tiers, because you need lower tiers and points of entry so more people can participate in the program and put more demand into the supply-demand equation. And so that's why I was advocating for a 50 token tier. We'll see what they actually come out with when they release the terms, but that's where 90 to 95% of the, well, really up to 95% of the customer base will be. It'll be in the basic and the first tier when that comes out.
Yeah, and I mean, in 5 years, I see no reason we can't be at 10 million funded accounts with assuming everything's executed and everything that's kind of been thrown out there is executed. I mean, a debit card, NASDAQ listing, Europe expansion, a NFT marketplace, all the interest, more coins, and
Lending.
eventually every coin will be able to be transferable. So, I mean, to think, which they're not funded accounts, but Coinbase has 70 million downloads. To think 10 million, and as early as we are with everything that's coming, and at that point we're looking at what 8 coins per account or something.
Yeah, I did the math. If we were to go from, Coinbase in the quote unquote crypto winter went from 1 million accounts in 2019 to 2.8 million accounts in 2020. And if Voyager were to replicate that kind of a move at the end of year 1, so the theoretical maximum where we'll be at the end of this year, we're looking at 316 million tokens without any kind of burning mechanism. And if we've got 2.8 million tokens floating out there, that's roughly 100 tokens per funded account. It's even less when you throw in the non-funded accounts. So the supply is going to get eaten up really fast. The price per token has nowhere to go but up. So it's going to be pretty fun time. So it all comes down to execution. Yeah. Can these products launch on time? Can people learn about them quick enough? Can they get enough debit cards out the door? Do they have the infrastructure for Europe? And to me, I mean, we can celebrate Europe in 2022, but we're not going to really see the harvest of that crop that we're planting until 2023, because it took us a million funded accounts this year, basically a whole 12-month ramp, right? So you have to kind of think in terms of when Canada's added and when Europe's added. Sure, you'll have a few, beta testers and early adopters, but it's going to take a while for them to do the grassroots marketing like we've been doing here and get that word out. And but that's good, because then you've got user inflows for the next several years. most of the market share that they're going to capture is going to be off of the checking services product here, and then the stock platform. Because think about all the people that are going to flee from Robinhood and like WEBULL and maybe a Schwab or an E-Trade, and they're going to come over to Voyager's platform because they can use their crypto and get money back on their checking account and then buy stocks with it. That's going to be the big thing that brings in users, and that's going to be the second half of the year.
Yeah, interesting. At some point, it is interesting. There's going to be a price discovery. There's going to be a supply crunch. We're going to get to ride a crazy, crazy roller coaster straight up at some point, like a BNB like roller coaster. And I've argued with the BNB players because they're like, well, VGX isn't a smart chain, and I get that, and I think that's like trying to do way too much. I don't think we should be a smart chain. I like being cozy as a utility token. But I think that we are going to have some crazy tokenomics. But at some point, we have to, I don't know what's going to happen, but at some point, that like there's like the potential to completely ruin the loyalty program. So like, what happens when all the existing members are own all the coins? I mean, it's crazy. There needs to be like some mechanism. They're going to have to do something at some point. So like, yeah, we'll get some massive spike. Maybe we go to $100 VGX coin per coin or something. But then there's all of a sudden going to be a big problem that needs to be solved. And I'm curious how that gets solved. Like, how do they keep it going?
Well, that's actually, that's not too hard to unravel. As the price goes up, a lot of people that are holding the tokens are going to sell off their interest. They're going to take loans. They're going to put tokens back into circulation for the people that are coming on. So, and because it's inflationary tokenomics, the user base is inflationary, so the token should be inflationary. So there is access to the program. And the design that I put out scales to over 6 million customers. So that's definitely sustainable for a couple of years. I don't think they're going to get 10 million within the next 2 years. And at that point in time, they can reevaluate. Maybe then your basic tier is 0 tokens, and then your first VGX tier might end up being like 5 tokens at that point. Like you said, if the price is $100 plus. So that's not too hard to solve. They just lower the lowest tier. They're probably not going to lower or have interest in lowering the top end, right? 20,000 is going to look like an impossibility for anybody at that point in time, right? It's a $2 million tier. So that's why I've always advocated we don't need anything higher than the Navigator, because it works out to be less than 14,000 customers theoretical maximum, and that's if every customer was a Navigator, right? So and here, I'll put that tweet up, I'll pin it, and you can kind of see the drastic skewing to the early tiers that I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're an explorer, if you got 5,000 plus tokens, hold on to those. They're going to be really valuable, and you're going to be in really elite company, like the top 1% of account holders. Once Voyager starts getting millions of funded accounts, you will be in the top 1%. Think about that.
Yeah, and I second the natural sellers. I mean, there's been a long road of staying within a pretty narrow range for the most part. So, I mean, you got to think we hit a $10, $20 VGX. There's going to be a lot of sellers. So I think it'll be a natural buyer to seller for a while at least.
Is it possible for them to just say, okay, look, things are a little bit too crazy. It's too deflationary. We're growing too quickly. We don't have, people are hoarding their coins. We're going to make this year, we're going to make 20 million extra coins for the program. Like if they did that, that would be like a huge kind of issue. It might be good for the VLP, but it might like impact the price in a big way. And this is just a hypothetical down the line, but
no, they wouldn't be able to do that because it requires community governance to vote something like that through.
Isn't that governance only after 8 years though?
No, they can introduce governance into the token right now if they wanted to. They just have to have a forum that people would be able to issue their votes on the proposals.
I see. Well, and by the way, like I do think, although that there's not a ton of us, who are navigators or above, um, in the short term, honestly, I just I just think that it's always great to have something to work towards. And so, like I've seen Pablo in here, he wasn't here, like there's others. I mean, I've got over 50,000 tokens. Like if the price spikes, to $10, I'm going to sell like, 40,000 tokens or something. I've got like a 3x
Hmm.
navigator or something. Like I don't want to do that. I would rather be paid to hold at 50,000, for example. And then make like, 4% cash back and 2%, and whatever, 2% booster, and get a little bit more and something to, and then I think it becomes 3 sigma after navigator. I don't think navigator is 3 sigma though. Navigator's like, still 2 sigma or something.
So I think that everybody kind of comes to what they want from a program from their own selfish interest.
Yeah, right.
Greed is good. So, and I think that because we have a community of roughly 700 heroes, and a lot of us are early adopters and do have large accumulations of tokens, we want what we want for our own self-interest versus the greater good and the sustainability of the program and the company. And like I outlined, which you can take a look at the pin tweet up above, when you start looking at the numbers from a big macro picture of when Voyager starts getting into doubling, tripling, quadrupling their customer base, the amount of people in these top tiers are going to be such an insignificant portion of the funded accounts that sure, they can give everybody in those tiers those black card type rewards, right? We don't have to add tiers above it because it's exactly what we want. We want a sustainable rewards program where anybody can participate regardless of their socioeconomic status. Because you got to remember, we're going to Europe and then Canada, right? But eventually we're going to be going to Latin America and the Pacific Rim, right? And those customers aren't going to be able to buy in at a $2,000 first tier to get these benefits. That'd be a major ask. So we have to be, if I'm Voyager, I'd say, great, Noah, if you've got 60,000 tokens and you want to sell off half of them, and by all means do it, because we want that circulation and supply. We want that out there. Now here's the other thing too. If you had to, instead of selling your tokens, if you were going to put them up and take a loan off of them, and you weren't going to be earning your 7% on the tokens that you put up for a collateralized loan, well, that's going to be another form of locking up tokens. And you're going to want more than your tier because you want to still earn your passive income through the 7% staking, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's your reason to go and buy more, you see?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a bunch of other things that they could do to affect tokenomics outside of the VLP count. And I believe it was Steve's last interview where he threw out a bunch of different ideas, one of which was loans, where he was essentially saying, like, what are we going to prioritize first? So I think loans would be one of those things that'd be a scalable reward beyond just the number of what you hold. I don't think that the changes will come drastically. I think it'll be more of a dial that, we turn down and vote on as a community. It's not going to be a completely open governance system. I assume it's going to be A, B, C, D. What do you guys think? But, who knows what that's going to look like. And I see that we have the investor guy, Banjo Kazooie, the investing guy. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? So, doing good. I have the YouTube stream going on right now, and I had one of my subscribers asking a question on stock trading, and I said I'd ask for him. He wants to know if for the stock trading, if they are going to include options trading.
I believe so. They've talked about margin and options. I believe would be part of that. I believe I've seen that in the market rebellion language, but we'll have to see when they launch that product in the second half of the year.
Yeah, I would think that they're going to start with equities, and then derivatives will actually come probably later. But I mean, if you look at the other apps that have been successful, I guarantee you they're trying to copy Robinhood and
Right.
these other, and these other apps have option availability, but they're very, very simplified options. Like you can buy calls. It's not like, you can do credit spreads and, iron condors and shit. But yeah, that's all coming in the back half of the year is what I think the word on the street is. But a lot of this stuff still has to come together. And don't forget the equities that they're going to be offering are limited. It's not like they're a TD Ameritrade where they're offering like every equity and you have to search for it or whatever. It's going to be just like the crypto. There's going to be a select number of probably very, very tech heavy. You're going to have your Apples and your Amazons and Tesla will probably be the first thing they put on their type of thing. But and probably the cool thing is you're probably going to be able to buy directly with USDC, and you're probably going to be able to directly convert USDC into other crypto. That's actually even more exciting. But maybe that answers your viewers' questions.
Well, not only that, but the margin is part of the VLP benefits. So, I mean, if you're Explorer Plus, you'll probably have greater access to margin and lending services when those products launch, because those are going to be your higher net worth tiers, and generally speaking, accredited type investors in those levels. So the rewards will also, for the utility of the VLP, will be skewed, upwards to people that are interested in those products.
And I also believe it's going to be more traditional stocks in the sense that it's not going to be tokenized, at least at first. I would imagine they're going to, utilize their E-Trade experience just to get that locked and loaded and out the door before they get into more tricky stuff like tokenized stocks. Because I know that regulation-wise, I believe it's kind of a mess, and I could be wrong, but expect the normal stuff first.
Yeah, I almost see it like a reverse eToro if anybody's used that with their crypto. They only have like 10 or 15 or so, but they have like an actively managed, and it's like your top tier of your top tier. I assume that's how the stocks would come out. And another kind of to backtrack, Noah, another use for VGX is with the Coinify deal, potentially in the future being able to buy with your VGX and even earn rewards or different things that can get creative with that. So that's another use of holding excess VGX for the tiers.
Yeah, that makes sense. It almost like becomes similar to the StormX platform, which is awesome, by the way. And Obi and I were talking about using your StormX card and getting 8% and then getting another 3% cash back. I mean, really, the biggest like game changer, disruptive thing that people aren't even going to believe, because nobody even understands this yet, is that if you pay off your mortgage like straight from ACH from your bank account, like with Voyager, then you're going to get 3%, back in VGX tokens. That is insane.
That is the reason that got me in, was that recurring utility life payment reward system you're talking about.
It's a mind blower. I mean, I'm going to pay off my credit cards with the VGX account. It's insane. So, it's like, it's hard to even imagine. Like, it's kind of sounds a little bit too good to be true, although Steve has said it. I don't know how long that's going to, I mean, we're going to be just accumulating the shit out of VGX tokens. I mean, it's going to be really nuts how fast people, and that's the thing is, like, as the price of VGX is low, I mean, there are going to be a lot of navigators printed. Just like now that we've dipped down to 160, 170, I see like all kinds of people saying like, "Yep, I'm a navigator now." A navigator only costs like whatever, not that much anymore, which is good, which is fine. I think it's great. I mean, I think that I mean, I'm buying, we're all buying, people who know what it is, so
yeah, I did some back of the envelope math in terms of how long would it take for the growth pool to be depleted. with when you have debit cards in the hands of all the people that want them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's anywhere from 3.5 to 7 months.
And I mean, I would also like to add that this is a small businesses. Wow, let me try that again. A small business with a high overhead, wet dream. You know, like you could be putting so much money into your business and then making a little bit of net profit. Like this is a whole new utility for all the money that you use just to keep operation going, not even the net profit that you're getting from your business. So I think
Right.
that gets me so excited when Voyager starts talking about small business accounts. It's like, oh man. I mean, I think about my father's optometry business, you know, and the just what it costs to keep things running. And all of a sudden you're going to get more rewards on that for doing something you're going to do anyway. Anyway, I'm getting all Voyager hype right now. I should stop and we should keep going. But
You
No,
stole my
you're
idea. That's
absolutely
what I was
right.
getting into.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about and taxes are, you know, the most important thing. If you can keep more of what you earn, and everybody should be set up as a business, as a high overhead business, honestly, because you know, in terms of the deductions you can take, and you know, unless you want to, you know, support a government which is allocating capital, it's better to be an entrepreneur and a business person, because the system is set up for, it's like a two-tier system. You're either a W-2 earner, in which case you're like a slave, you're literally like an indentured servant, or you're a 1099 or a business owner, in which case you can write off like everything and negate your income. I mean, it's crazy. You can pay your kids, you can rent your home to your business for 14 days for de minimis income. I mean, the things you can do are just unbelievable. So I'm happy, you know, if anybody ever wants to ask me offline, I've started I've started a tax business for physicians to educate them how to do that. And I love uh, finance and taxes and whatnot, but it's a little bit far afield of the conversation we're having right now. Um, you know, I do think that loans are going to be an answer to the specter of capital gains that you know, that we're all going to face, you know, if and when type of thing. This continues in the way we want it to play out, because you know, there's obviously risks with kind of any investment, but um, they've been executing and they're going to continue to execute, and it's uh, it's amazing to be a part of this and see where it goes. I'm like so hungry for the new news. Like I said, I'm interviewing Steve next week, so if anybody has any specific questions you want me to ask him, obviously the when questions, he's, you know, we've already seen the when questions with DJ Crypto and stuff, and I don't think those are useful because he doesn't even know, you know, like he just gets all diplomatic. But I think some of the other questions about token governance and things like that could be interesting. I do have a bunch of interesting questions from physicians already, that actually some of you might even be able to answer. Like, you know how Coinbase got into trouble and was told, no, you can't offer an interest-bearing, you know, program. So I've got a lot of people asking, well, why can Voyager do it, but you know, but Coinbase got into trouble, you know?
That's because they have a broker-dealer license and Coinbase doesn't. And Gemini just got one or applied for one today. So they're not structured in the same fashion. They're an actual exchange and not a broker. And so they're limited in what products and services they're able to offer to their customers without the appropriate licensing.
That is awesome. Yeah, Steve is such a genius. He was like way out ahead of all these guys. But yeah, I figured it was something like that. But yeah, I was hoping that answer was that simple. Thanks for confirming that, though. That makes perfect sense.
I would like to hear him talk about, because it ties in with what you were saying about businesses, because
Yeah.
they have institutional.investvoyager.com where you can do the contact us. And I'm curious to see, you know, they've got 200 million currently earmarked for acquisitions. And he's kind of hinted towards getting into the institutional game to compete with Coinbase. So I'm thinking that they're looking to acquire a custody business.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of interested to see, is that a 2022 thing or is that a 2023 thing? because we do get people on our spaces asking us, hey, how do I get my business set up with Voyager? Or, hey, I've got this idea and where do I send it? And I think they might even have a separate rewards program, maybe based around AUM for companies, right? So
Yeah, right.
that's just my gut. It doesn't make sense for institutionals to be able to compete with the same token supply that retail and small business has to compete with. But I'd be kind of curious to see what he says about the institutional side, especially since they just hired a guy to do payments in the United States, and they hired another guy to do corporate development, which is business speak for acquisitions.
Okay, I'm writing that down. I'm taking notes. That's a great question, dude.
While we're on the topic of things to ask Steve, an old mentor once told me, you don't necessarily invest in a company, you invest in leadership.
People.
Right? People. So maybe digging into, what motivates Steve, what makes Steve, who he is, want to humanize it a little bit, make it less about the economics and the crypto, more just about, why Steve is a good leader and worth investing in, family, friends, history, challenges, hardships, humanize him a little bit, because everyone hangs on his every word and thinks he's this just hardcore, Wall Street executive guy. But I've hung out with him. He's a good dude. He's got family friendly vibes. Yeah.
Well, and I think I can answer a lot of that just based on his interview with DJ. I mean, that was a great hour-long interview, and he's got the love, man. He's got the passion. He's a builder, and so I think that I'll get into a little bit of that. I think that my audience in the Crypto Pulse Substack is mostly going to be physicians who their biggest thing is they're weary. They're like, okay, where's the catch? Like, how can you make 9% interest on USDC when nobody else is offering like that high, and they don't know about the fringy like other little guys. But people are just very dubious when they hear that. They're like, okay, yeah, that'll last for 6 months, or yeah, they're gonna cave or whatever. One of the interesting questions that I had from one of the guys was, is there some kind of guarantee on your account if you get hacked? So not like the SPIC kind of like US dollar kind of FDIC insurance, but there's a question about like, well, okay, we've seen, crypto.com just got hacked for 30 mil. They're not Bitcoin, right? They're hackable, and they've got great security, and you can talk about all that, but that's fine. There's always like some bro who's super smart out there, who's nonstop trying to hack in. And if it happens, I think people are worried about losing their investment, versus will Voyager, do they have some means to insure it or some means to make good on it? And I can answer some of that with, well, they're diversified, they're on different exchanges, they're staked, they're here, they're there, they've got some on cold storage. I know, we all know those answers. But I think that there's some people who are looking for like more of a guarantee. So between that and then the fact that people are skeptical about the interest rates because it's just so good, compared to everything else, people are like, well, something's got to be shady. They're doing something super sketchy. And so it's hard to kind of, explain that. But yeah, Winston Churchill, what you got?
Well, so two things really. So, I think Steve elaborated on that they find credible business partners to lend to. I would be interested in what that means, because I think that there's going to be increasing scrutiny around that piece, obviously with today's news with the SEC, but I don't know if he could elaborate with that ongoing. But my question is, I think it was around, Q2 of last year with Alameda Research, they mentioned in their press release about payment for order flow, and that sort of went under the radar. I don't think it was ever addressed or questions were asked, but isn't that what Robinhood was dealing with? Like, what does that mean?
Right. Are they gonna sell their order flow to institutional guys who can front run, or that, because that's probably could be a big source of revenue. but that could screw the little guy. I mean, that's interesting. I'll ask. Payment for order flow like Robinhood.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
a can
I'll
of worms
ask
we
that.
might not want to open, but it's something that I'm definitely curious about from the revenue aspect, as well as how do we learn from Robinhood's mistakes and navigate that correctly from a PR standpoint.
I think that
So
they're fundamentally stood up differently than Robinhood. They have their smart order routing system, and as a fiduciary, they're obligated to find the lowest price for us, and they make money on the spread. Whereas Robinhood isn't really that. Robinhood takes the orders and then they basically funnel it to their backers, their clearinghouses, and then they're just basically routing order to like two different places or maybe three different places. And that's not what Voyager's model is. And Steve has built Lightspeed Financial and managed E-Trade, and that's not been a problem at any of his previous stops. So I have zero worries that will be handled in any
I'm not
questionable way.
I'm not worried either. But Obi, are they? I don't think that they're fiduciaries. I don't think there's a legal fiduciary relationship with because they're not actually custodians. They're not. Well, I guess they are because we don't really. I mean, when you think about it, it is set up when like we kind of have an IOU for our tokens. I mean, it's on the platform. It's not like we have our own wallets and our own custody. So I guess they are custodians, but are they actually fiduciary? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same way that like Fidelity is as a broker, right? They're obligated to find you the lowest price as a broker dealer. Same thing with Voyager. They will be obligated to find the customer the lowest price. They're able to make a profit on the spread as a broker to operate their business, but they're going to have to execute the lowest price.
yeah, I agree. Robinhood, they're commission free and they don't take a spread, so their revenue comes from that. So they're dependent upon it, while Voyager, takes a spread.
Okay. Okay.
And
Well,
then
anyway, I'll add
perhaps,
that question.
yeah. Well, then what are the implications for revenue? And is that an additional stream that we haven't seen yet?
Well, the only thing about that revenue stream in regards to equities is they have to split it 50-50 with Market Rebellion. There's a separate business LLC. It's a 50-50 split between the Nigerians and Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager split up. It's something like 10 different ways broken off from the main Voyager. I've seen the breakdown before, but yeah, Market Rebellion has a 50% stake in that, specific to the equities. And the companies broke up in a way that they can have strategic deals for just subsidiaries of the main Voyager company.
Okay. That makes sense. That's smart. That makes a lot of sense. Well, then they probably are gonna do that with other partners as well. Interesting. I mean, they could even do it internationally.
Yeah, and we're already kind of seeing it with Avalanche too. I mean, they're strategically involved with Avalanche.
Or the businesses that run with Avalanche, like Particle Foundation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wonder when we're going to get NFTs on the platform. It's going to be so interesting. They're going to have to
interesting to
redesign
ask
the app.
them. Coinbase is offering an NFT marketplace where people can buy simply with a card. Does Voyager plan to and their NFT marketplace to be, centered around the debit card and an easy to use marketplace that removes the barriers for people that might be interested in getting into that market but don't want to have to, go buy crypto on an exchange and put it on a MetaMask and link it up somewhere. Are they going to remove those roadblocks to be competitive? Would be a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious on that as well. Wicket, you've been up here for a little bit and your hand up. How are you, my friend?
No, I'm doing great. No, great to. This is a great forum here. Just what question would you ask Steve? That's a neat one. And I'm one of those guys that hit my navigator tier this week, so I'm pretty excited.
Nice, dude.
Again, it's a hard time to get there, right? Yeah, doing a little bit at a time, but it does help when you're paying for things half off. But So my question, and I have a little bit of, my intuition, and part of the reason I trust Steve and what I've seen from him, he's built $3 billion companies, and I don't know. Let me tell you how I would answer this question before I ask the question. But I think that he's kind of gone through life having to prove something, showing that he can sustain it, and now he's going to give something back. And I don't know if Voyager Digital is his way to kind of simultaneously help the little guy while kind of sticking it to the institutions and his competitors. But that's kind of how I see it, that he has kind of a dual focus of trying to give something back while also sticking it in the eye of the people that he's competing against. And so kind of the question I would ask is, as you've built these different businesses, how is your attitude towards achievement and leaving a legacy changed? And has there been a curve as you've become wiser and more experienced over time? And that might work a little bit towards the skepticism of your audience as well. But that's kind of the soft side question that I would toss your way.
Yeah, I like that. I like the kind of again the humanistic approach. I mean, I'm hearing that, and I hadn't really thought about putting too much of that in. But I think if I do, show who Steve is and show what motivates him, and show how he is an avid competitor, and he wants to win. And you can tell. I mean, look, he's a sportsman too, right? I mean, look at all the deals we do with Mavs and everybody else, and Landon and so yeah, that's great. I will take those. I will take those to him. Guys, I have a patient. I'm actually on call, so I have to go see this patient. Maybe I'll hop in later, but DM me if you have any further questions. This has been super valuable, as it always is, and great talking.
Noah, thanks for coming up, man. We got to get you an official hero one of these days. I know it's yellow something, a yellow hero of sorts, but we got to get you one.
I wanted Kirk, but somebody took Kirk. I looked through them. There were a couple that and then people just snatched them up, and so yeah, I'll have to find one. Maybe I can think of one. The art is so incredible, and I love the purple and stuff. Maybe you can just take my image and make it purple and stuff. I don't know, throw a little VGX on there. I'm my own hero, bro.
He's the American Ninja. He's the American Ninja Warrior physician. He can be his own.
Yeah, I'm the ninja doc, so maybe I want to be my own. I don't know if that's possible. I just
we'll talk. We'll talk. Enjoy your time. Don't leave your patient hanging now. Thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, my friend.
Okay, take care, guys.
To kind of touch on that, as easy as it to say is like this is his last hurrah. Like this is the most challenging of any of the products he's released when it comes to scrutiny. I mean, if you look up Voyager, it is a nonstop somebody talking bad about it, and it used to be even worse. But I think Steve is, he likes building. He's an innovator. Lightspeed and E-Trade were both, they were started very early for what they are, and they were like not easy to accomplish when that happened. And I think he sees something, like he's kind of all his business and everything's kind of led to, he's created a product that not only this, is it going to be successful, but it's going to change things. And, I think more than anything, that's what he cares about. He sees that, an opportunity to really change investing and people's finances. So it's kind of a combination of everything he's done in business, but he gets to, do so much more on one platform while being able to change lives through his products.
Yeah, and that kind of makes me reflect on when we actually had Steve on our spaces one time, and our VGX hero Kronos asked Steve, what can we do for you, to show our appreciation for creating this platform and giving us the opportunity to build wealth and all these types of things. So I keep that in mind a lot of times, just like how amazing it is.
And what was the three things he said? He said, stay positive, get the word out. There was one more. I had a tweet about it.
it was like, positivity, that's, I can't really remember. Yeah, it was along those lines.
So stay positive, stay patient, and get the word out, more or less, is I think what it was. But maybe that's just what I heard.
Yeah, and he loves hearing, success stories and things like that. That really warms his heart. I remember him making a point of that. Like he loves hearing, how Voyagers, help better people's lives and things like that. But yeah, that was great conversation. We can move it on to our next segment if unless there's anything else we want to touch on this.
Should we look at the pinned tweet to see if we got anything to talk about? Let's see.
Yeah, I know one person asked why can't New York buy or get the app. That's because of Voyager doesn't have a bit license, so New York requires you to get a bit license to sell crypto or be an authorized crypto broker / exchange in the state. And they haven't given one out in like a year and a half. They're becoming more open to crypto, especially New York City's new mayor is a big Bitcoin guy. So it's coming. Steve's smart guy. He's tried to do everything the right way from the beginning. It's just more or less just waiting on them for that.
I see a book suggestion, The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. Mr. FOMO, if you're around to, just give a quick pitch of what that is, I'm curious too. But we could also move on to the community. Maybe we should move on because we have a half hour left. We want to respect everybody's time. Sunsu, do you want to pick up there and, shill the VGX Hero community and what we're all about and some of the things we got going on, and we could kind of just riff off that and engage with the audience here?
Yeah, sounds good. So that book recommendation, the author of the book is Jeff Booth, and the recommendation came from Mr. FOMO down in the listeners there. He's got some kind of sticker on his forehead or something. I like it. But anyway, getting into the community aspect, VGX Heroes, we are just a grassroots thing that started last July. Floki, Aragorn, Maximus, we all started posting our buys in defense of the FUD. There was a lot of people, and there still are, but we choose how we engage that. But at the time, we decided, we're going to post our buys. We're going to do a lot of positive work here and, promote the company and build this community full of like-minded people. And so what it's grown to today is we're coming up close on 700 members at this point. And, what we do here is try to educate people in our spaces. We've got different social media outlets. We use Twitter. We've got a Facebook group. There's an Instagram page, which is essentially a collection of all the artwork our creative team has done for us. Each hero that's newly minted, they'll put out a set of remastered photos. And, we're working on other things. We might have a YouTube channel one day. It's all in the works. But, our Discord is another way that you can really engage with us. It's I think important to me to extend the reach to all these different platforms and get everyone involved, because that's really what it's about. It's not about VGX Heroes being the most popular thing out there. It's for all of us to find this common ground where we can encounter these extremely intelligent individuals like Obi-Wan and Lucky and Michael and the other fun aspects. Every hero has their individual thing that they contribute, and that I think that's what makes it really special. So I don't know, Floki, if you have anything you want to add in addition to that, some of the things that we do, like the weekly buys and stuff like that, or anything specific you'd like to go off of.
Yeah, part of the time I wanted to spend on community is asking you guys what you would like to see from the community, whether it's some sort of tradition or creative thing or philanthropy, whatever. I'd love to get a discussion going there. I could talk about some of the traditions that we have going on here. As the community, obviously, when you join, you get a mint announcement from one of our creative writers, and it's a tradition just to welcome everybody as they join the community. So, that's the easiest way probably to participate in this community. Is you don't have to be a crypto expert. You just have to post a GIF and say welcome and congratulate people. That was essentially what this whole community was founded on top of balancing out the FUD, right? And how do we do that? Is we do that by celebrating each other. So that requires zero crypto expertise. That just you gotta have a little bit of a gift game, I guess, right? Find some good gifts, but that's one of the things that we have is the mint announcements, and then we have the profile picture art that comes out from Snake Eyes and Duke Nukem and John Wick. We have a couple of other creative traditions that happen with Hero of the Week. Like the Hero of the Week gets a action figure image modification. Each week we have a VGX Hero of the Week. Lucky Luciano was this week. Obi-Wan was last week, where we essentially celebrate people in our community for what they do and how they contribute. Everyone deserves to be recognized. So, and that's one thing that we're doing, and then it gets passed on from one week to the next. We got a couple of buy traditions going now. Every Friday, this will be week 6, where we're doing the $10 VGX Friday buy ritual that the leader of each week, and this week is Pablo. Is Pablo in the house right now? I think he was. But anyway, Pablo Escobar will be leading this week. So he will make a post on Thursday night and basically saying, hey, final reminder. And then he's going to quote tweet that on Friday. And everybody goes in there and posts their $10 VGX buy. This is just another form of guerrilla marketing that we enjoy doing. We're trying to make an impact, show group conviction. And I believe he's going to do a cameo from somebody special this week. So keep your eyes peeled there. We have education teams, we have creative teams, we have social media teams, we have tech teams. We have a ton of things that we want to do as this community, but we're here to do it as a community, not just a trickle down leadership. I'd love to hear some of the ideas that you guys have that you'd like to see in this community. Maybe we could start with the panel, or just listeners step up and tell us something. What ideas do you guys have?
And so one thing in addition to that, while anyone decides if they want to go ahead and suggest something, is that we call ourselves the VGX Heroes because that's what brought us all together. But we're not a VGX maxi group. It's we come here and we want to teach you guys about all aspects of crypto. No matter what coin it is, no matter what DeFi project or NFT, we want to include everything so that we can all gain this knowledge together. And if you want to participate with us, if you just want to join the Discord and you don't want to nerd out with us, Hero, that's totally fine too. You can join our Discord, and there's plenty of different channels about things that you can talk about as far as stocks or charting or whatever it may be. You're not required to pick a hero. We do encourage it because it's fun and we have a good time doing it. But if you're just a straight up investor and you want to gain some knowledge, it's a good safe place where there's a lot of intelligent people ready to help you out there. But
Yeah, just to touch on like the maximalism point is, Voyager, it's a personal finance app, and it's only going to become more and more. So we're just, as much as we like VGX, growth in general is, good for the coin directly or indirectly. And it's just kind of spreading the word of, when somebody first comes in and hears about Voyager, there's so many questions and, confusion and like, how is this real and things like that. So it just takes, having those conversations with people. And because, we all know what Voyagers, can do for somebody and how it can change lives. So it's just getting people in and easing that conversation. But yeah, it's just all about positivity. And speaking on the gifts, I've been through 3 heroes now. I've changed so many times, but I switched from my first hero to my second because my original hero didn't have many gifts. So that's kind of a funny point you made there, Floki.
Yeah, it's all about getting to know the person behind the character as you're comfortable, right? Which leads to another tradition that I forgot to mention is our VGX Hero Hangout Fridays, which will be hosted by Crypto Airborne and the Investing Guy. I believe they're going to be switching off Fridays, and it's all about just getting to know you. So the basic questions will be, how did you get started in crypto and investing, and how did you run into the VGX Heroes, and kind of just telling your story. We've done, I think, about 20 episodes of those as well. So love to hear some new stories from you guys, whether you want to go full docs and show your face or just do voice. I'm halfway there. I always have my sunglasses on, but it's me by the beard. So love to hear.
Yeah, like the sunglasses changed that much.
I know. I know.
Clark Kent versus Superman, Floki. I love it.
Exactly. But what's going on, Skip? I see you hopped up here. You got something for us, my friend?
Yeah, I just had an idea. Just wondering from a marketing perspective, if VGX could they could hand out VGX tokens to new customers like they hand out Bitcoin. I think we could get those new customers involved on a greater scale with VGX before they just get onto the program and start trading Bitcoin. That they can look into VGX immediately by having it maybe 1, 2, 3, even 5 tokens to those new customers. Anyway, just a thought.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, and that could tie into Obi's theory of creating lower tiers. Say when you sign up through a referral, and the lowest VGX tier, regardless of what the rewards are or what's going on or the price of the token, just an example, you get 5 VGX, and that gets you into the first tier. So through that referral, you're now a part of the VLP.
Yeah, the only problem with that is it's not as tempting from an outside person. From us, we're like, that's a fantastic idea. But for, trying to get the majority of new people saying, oh, here, we're giving you 5 VGX. They're like, I don't want to be. So Bitcoin's just an easier entry to get people referrals. Maybe if they did something like $20 Bitcoin, 1 VGX, just to get one in their balance, that's something.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. If they could balance it, do Bitcoin and VGX or something like that. However it works out, but I love the idea.
Yeah, it's something that we've heard before, and it doesn't hurt hearing it again. You never know if Voyager's listening. Who knows who's behind these profiles, right? But I think the dream would be somewhere in the middle, where you could have an option or a trigger. When you sign up, what do you want your bonus to be through that referral bonus? That would be sweet. Yeah, it's a great idea. Obviously, I'd want it as a holder, but to Pepe's point, it's about attracting that broader audience, I think, right now, which is why I think that's the play, as just normal Bitcoin referral bonus. But who knows?
Yeah, I actually love that idea of like on the person giving out the referral, giving them the option of what they would like it in, Bitcoin or VGX. That'd be sweet.
Ooh, or like maybe when you sign up, it's like, okay, so you're about to receive your bonus and you'll have 2 options to pick, and it'll be Bitcoin or VGX or whatever. And it'll also have a brief description of what those coins are. So maybe there's just a little bit of knowledge of, like, you give the customer the opportunity to just do a high level understanding of what it is they're choosing. That would be interesting too. I love the theory crafting stuff. Obviously, that's fun.
Yeah, and I think there's a 2-minute video explaining VGX and the VLP that they could be linked to on their phone to watch as well, with some commercial, that gets out there on the internet.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like an animated, kind of pleasing to look at, like little crypto, like just talk about Bitcoin for a little bit, Ethereum, and then talk about the loyalty program within Voyager. Maybe if it's in like a click tab somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that their new tier system, one of them is the VGX Hero tier. That's what I'm hoping.
That'd be sick.
I'm trying to figure out, should we do like the lowest? We hope for the lowest one for inclusion, the middle for well-rounded, or the top one, just because.
I like the low. I like the idea of all inclusive. The everyday, everybody could be it. I think that's fitting.
I like Obi's approach, where there's two additional levels. The entry level to hook and get people in, which is absolutely essential in terms of sustainability, given where we know this thing is going. And then also a tier in between Explorer and Navigator, because that's a big. I mean, that's a big jump from 5,000 to 20,000, and those kind of incentives along the way, like a mid tier, I think makes sense. So I think absolutely the entry level, lowering that barrier of entry is essential and will help with long-term sustainability. And then also giving some of the guys that are like explorers, another tier to get to before they get the Navigator should also be looked at. I think that's a great idea, personally.
I've got a question here on the comments from Sri Hanuman. He says, does Crypto Cartel curse during regular conversations as well? How does he sound? And I got a DM from Mr. Cartel, and he said, tell him you are crazier than V, and what I can only interpret as some kind of scream. So if that answers your question, Sri, I don't know if he curses, but we are equally crazy.
Don't worry. One of our special, maybe our 50th space or so, he's our co-host, so you'll get to hear him eventually. Don't worry.
Off the chops with Crypto Cartel. One day, it's the dream.
So if the panel wants to talk about maybe what can the community expect from us in the upcoming weeks, and what are some of the things that we're going to implement, I think might be a good kind of segue into taking this thing home, like in terms of engagement, asking the community some of these tools that we talked about earlier, maybe engaging with the community through surveys and seeing what they would like ahead of time before our AMA spaces. Just kind of maybe some of the panel holders would like to touch on that.
Yeah, there's so many things going on. I don't want to ask, too much and kind of just focus on one thing. So let's stick to the AMA. I would challenge everybody to think of different segments or ideas that we could use for these spaces that would engage the audience and the panel in ways that you aren't really seeing in other spaces. We're trying to separate ourselves from being a shill space. We want to focus on education. There's a lot of spaces going on nowadays where you get that general information, and we want to provide something for you guys that you don't necessarily get in the day-to-day spaces. So let us know what you want. Would be a big help. as far as engaging and learning through these AMAs.
Yeah, absolutely. I meant that just from a from a perspective of helping us shape the AMAs and just engagement with the community. But absolutely, the move to an educational space that is focused on teaching some of the fundamentals of just crypto writ large and finance, I think is moving in the right direction, and that's where we're moving. And we'd love to engage the community in that fashion and see what they're interested in. So yeah, thank you guys.
Maybe just don't overthink it. Like throughout the week, if you have a question or just a random thought that you'd want to discuss on these spaces, just DM it to the VGX Heroes account or me.
Everything's Floki.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one because I was seeing Sun Tzu and autofill emojis.
Yeah, it seems like he may have just cut out there. That's a good idea, though. You know, if you guys think of anything at any point in time, you know, feel free to DM us. Or if you're in the Discord, we have a channel that's open to everyone, whether you're a hero or not. And it's called Weekly AMA, Wednesday, 8 p.m. And you can post any questions you might have there. You can DM us on Twitter. You can post them in a comment under one of our, you know, past or future space reminders, whatever it may be. Because, you know, ultimately we do this for all of you guys. And, you know, the more that we can help you on your crypto journey, the better we all make out.
Absolutely. But yeah, we lost Floki there. That's kind of funny. That's how it always works with spaces, cutting out right in the middle of a conversation. But yeah, my DMs are open as well. Feel free to reach out if, you know, anything you want to touch on.
I see some comments as well. You know, I'm checking through the Twitter comments on our pinned tweet at the top. You know, we got a bunch of stuff about DeFi and you know, book recommendations and when New York, things like that. So you know, I'm excited for where we're going and what we're going to be able to talk about with you guys. I see Floki's back, so I'll hand it over.
I got rugged. It's all good though. I was just saying, on a whim, if you guys have an idea or a question or a topic, just DM me or the Heroes account. Maybe it could spur some ideas within the education team, or at least give us some focus to know what you guys want. But if you could get creative with some segment ideas, that's what we're really hoping for. I'd really like to push for more open discussions beyond just the panel going back and forth and casual conversation after the topic that we cover during the week would be great. And I'm hoping this ties into the book club or the book study that we do. And that's something we could ask, what's a good name for book study that's engaging that will bring somebody in? Because if we call it book study, we're screwed. Like there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm still thinking on that. I'm still thinking on it.
Reader's Haven. There's a couple of them that I had written down. One of them didn't sound right, and I got made fun of. But I'm sure we think of something.
Maybe a resource of the week.
Ooh, I like that, resource of the week.
And we could just highlight just wave tops of like crib notes of one book, just as a resource of the week, and talk about some of the concepts of that. Maybe.
I'm a fan of what the F happened. You know, someone can pick one thing and, you know, what the F is this? Like, you know, take one ridiculous thing you saw on Twitter or YouTube, as Floki mentioned, and just kind of, dissect it. Like, what?
Speaking of YouTube, Arya Stark, newest VGX hero. How you doing? Welcome.
Hey, Floki, thanks for letting me speak. I just wanted to say this is such a great community to join. And for anyone who hasn't seen me on Twitter yet, I'm a new VGX hero, just a few days now, as Arya Stark. I'm also on YouTube as Diamond Hands Investing, doing a few videos on Voyager, and that's how I kind of got reached out by the VGX heroes. And I didn't previously have a Twitter, so I think that's where I was missing out. But I know you guys are looking to improve and get all these new ideas, but I also wanted to just put out there, as someone new to the community, this has been such a great space to join. And I think, I come from the majority of my investments in the stock market, and there are communities in stocks, but I feel it's so different in the crypto communities, and especially with these VGX heroes. There's just so many things, posting the buys, everyone retweeting and favoring tweets, the comments in the Discord, the VGX hero of the week, putting yourself on the map in the Discord to kind of see, oh, who else is in my state. All of these things are just so fun. They're very positive, and just wanted to put that out there, that it's great to join you all, and I'm happy to join the VGX heroes.
Yeah, happy to have you, and thank you for coming up here and saying that. We love to hear from all the new heroes. And absolutely, just we built it based on positivity, and there's too much negativity out there, so make the world a better place when you can, and just be friendly, because a lot of people, they come onto Twitter and they come for resources, news, and they don't have a ton of interaction or personal connection. And so just one tweet, being invited to a community, it's really positive for a lot of people. So we're happy to what we've built so far, and to see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
On the back,
Sorry.
on the back of that, Diamond and our Arya Stark, I just want to say welcome to VGX Heroes. I want to encourage all heroes and anyone else that's interested, give her a follow. We're all about growing the community, and that is based on interaction. And I just followed Arya Stark, and I would encourage anyone that's in here to give her a follow, and welcome and thank you.
Yeah, that's a great point, Aldo. And just a quick shout out for our other YouTubers that have joined the heroes. We've got the investing guy up here, Aria, and Crypto Airborne, Major Winters. The three of them have just been putting out some really awesome stuff. So if you want to go ahead and follow them, follow their YouTubes. One of the three of them is going to have our AMAs posted. They're going to have their own original content, and they're all just doing a fucking slam dunk on.
Also, Daniel, don't forget Daniel. He puts out fantastic content.
Yes, Daniel as well.
Mike the Investor, shout out.
Black Panther, yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of them out there now. I love to see it, and everybody's doing a fantastic job spreading the word of what Voyager is and what it can do for you in personal finance passively. So, but Kenneth, Mr. Freeze, how are you, my friend?
Oh, Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. First name Ken. As I've mentioned in most of my Twitter posts since I became a hero this last week, I've been watching a lot of you over the months, and then started getting into the spaces. I posted some stuff about keeping high standards in interactions in and out of the community, and each one of us is from a different background, a different professional career, and I've seen top quality education, and looking to be one of the members that continues to spread that around the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for hopping up here, and good to hear from you, my friend. Yeah, definitely feel free to reach out on to any of us if you're looking to get new roles or help out in different ways.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen Ken. He's frequent in Big T spaces as well, and he's always got some good stuff to say. I really appreciate his presence.
But yeah, we have just a few minutes left. Appreciate everybody that's hopped up here and said hello or threw a question out there. If we have any final thoughts before we wrap it up. Anybody? We good? Well,
I'll go last if anybody's got anything else.
Well, I'll pass the mic around for last goodbye. Start off with you, Mr. Aldo.
Yeah, my final thoughts are just community. I loved hearing from people that just stepped up the past few minutes. This is all about community, and community is what is what Voyager is about. That's why Steve is doing this. It's a grassroots movement. It's how he's built his company. It's what he's focused on, and you can see the fruits of that labor here in the VGX Heroes. It's 100% grassroots, and I've met some of the most knowledgeable and intelligent people in this space through the VGX Heroes and just this community. And it's just a constant pleasure and joy to interact with the people in this space, in this group specifically, and to learn and share, and to continue to learn and share, and understand that we're on a journey, we're in it together, and we are just learning from each other and just helping each other out. And I just want to just encourage that and facilitate that. So that's what comes to mind about that.
Yeah, great stuff. I completely agree with you, my friend, and we appreciate you as always being up here. Obi-Wan?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out there that, in 5 days here on the 31st, Digital Asset News, Rob is going to be interviewing Steve. So if anybody wants to, ask any burning questions, I'd suggest shoot him a question on Twitter. And, who knows, maybe he'll ask the question. And then, of course, the person that was up here talking earlier, in case anyone was wondering, that was Noah Kaufman, and he is doing that doctors panel. So if you have questions that you wanted to potentially have him ask Steve, then reach out to him as well. And I just want to applaud everybody that has taken the time out of their personal lives and given their most precious resource to educate others in the community, asking nothing other than friendship in return. And we have a great community with many sessions on our Discord or through the Twitter app, or even just in messaging one another. And that's what makes us unique, is we're willing to give up that asset that is most scarce on this earth to one another, and that's what makes this valuable. It's the human capital spent, and not the investment. So appreciate you all, and I think that's all I have for now.
Appreciate it as always, and thank you for always coming up here and being so insightful. I know everybody in the audience appreciates it, so thank you for your time as well. Floki, what you got for us, my friend?
I'm going to keep it a little lighthearted this time. As important as education and spreading the word and crypto is, it's important not to take yourself too seriously. Have fun out there. If we can give people a reason to come onto Twitter and social media just for joy, it's going to have a resounding positive effect on their mental and their lives, and they're going to pick up good pieces of information along the way. The education of being in this space will just happen naturally through exposure. So make some noise, have some fun, draw people in. We have an intangible value as a community to bring new people into this space through uncrypto related ways of just having fun.
You got rugged again.
Yeah, unfortunately. 100% though, what he's saying, keep having fun and He's probably about to say getting rich alone is no fun, so let's have fun as a community, which totally agree with.
Yeah, that's 100% spot on. For me, I just keep it quick. Thank you to everybody in the audience for spending your time with us. It's greatly appreciated. We're happy to do this for you. Just let us know what you want to see and keep spreading positivity out there. And all I ask is just, if you have some time, be active, say hey on Twitter here and there. We love to see all the heroes out and about. So that's about it for me. Sanzu, you want to finish it all?
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to just give a quick shout again to the hero of the week, Lucky Luciano. I don't know, you may have noticed he had to take off early. He was joining a different spaces that he had made plans with. Our friend Bloom Life Skills, and he is currently hosting another space on crypto literacy and NFTs. So I just wanted to, kind of shout out him as well as we end here. And, if you're looking for something to listen to or join after we end here, and you're interested in just crypto literacy and NFTs in general, you can head over to him. And aside from that, strength and honor, my friends.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor. See y'all next week.
See you guys next week. Cheers.